George R. Martin co-edited an anthology in 2013. It was called Dangerous Women. The title was not accidental. He has always known what makes a woman dangerous in his world. A Song of Ice and Fire is full of dangerous women. Not all of them carry swords. A few carry poison or grudges or crowns that do not belong to them yet. 6 women in the books shaped the politics, the wars, and the futures of entire regions, and not one of them made it to the screen. This is who they are, what they did, and why Westeros looks different when you know their names.
3 days after the Red Wedding, a dire wolf pulls a woman's body from the Green Fork. The wolf is Nymeria, Arya's wolf, now leading a massive pack through the Riverlands. The body is Catelyn Stark. Beric Dondarrion finds her. Thoros of Myr has brought Beric back 6 times already. Each time costs something. Memory fades, warmth dies, less of you returns. Beric kneels over Catelyn and gives her the kiss of life, passing the fire of R'hllor into her lungs. This time, Beric does not come back. She does. What rises is not Catelyn Stark. Her throat is too damaged to speak. She presses her fingers to the wound and forces out a sound like tearing cloth. Her hair has turned white. Her skin is gray. The Brotherhood calls her Lady Stoneheart. Under her command, the Brotherhood without banners changes. They stop protecting small folk. They start hunting. Anyone connected to the Freys, the Lannisters, or the Boltons hangs from a tree. No trial, barely a question. Stoneheart remembers the music stopping. The crossbows, nothing else that matters. The Brotherhood captures Brienne of Tarth and drags her before Stoneheart. Brienne carries Oathkeeper, Jaime Lannister's gift, a sword reforged from Ned Stark's ice with Lannister gold. To Stoneheart, that sword is proof enough. A woman carrying a Lannister blade must be a traitor. The ultimatum? Kill Jaime Lannister or hang. Brienne refuses. Stoneheart orders all 3 hanged. As Pod's feet leave the ground, Brienne screams a word. Do not enter deeper than you can safely retreat. She chooses to hunt Jaime rather than die. She is cut down alive, and in the last we see of her, she is leading Jaime into what can only be a Stoneheart trap. Stoneheart is proof that resurrection in the books is not a reward. It is a horror. What comes back from 3 days in the river is not a mother. It is a force of sheer horror. And the Riverlands will not be the same until she is finished or until someone stops her. Dorne is the only kingdom in Westeros where the eldest child inherits, regardless of sex. Arianne Martell is Doran's eldest, the heir to Sunspear, a POV character across 2 books. Arianne believes her father plans to disinherit her for her younger brother, Quentyn, sent away years ago to an unknown destination. She decides to act first. The plan? Steal Princess Myrcella Baratheon from Sunspear and crown her Queen of the 7 Kingdoms under Dornish law. Myrcella is older than Tommen,
Under Dornish succession, the elder child rules. A legal challenge to the Iron Throne. A casus belli. Her conspirators? Sir Aris Oakheart, a Kingsguard she seduced. Darkstar, the most dangerous sword in Dorne, and the one she trusts least. A handful of loyal friends. The plan fails. Doran knew everything. A traitor in Arianne's party reported every step. Oakheart charges and dies on the captain's long axe. Darkstar slashes Myrcella's face and escapes. Arianne is imprisoned. But what follows is the real revelation. Doran was never disinheriting her. He was protecting her. A secret marriage pact, signed in Braavos years ago, promised Arianne to Viserys Targaryen. When Viserys died, Doran pivoted. He sent Quentyn to Daenerys. Arianne was always meant to rule Sunspear, and Doran has been running a decades-long revenge operation for the murder of his sister, Elia. In the sample chapters of The Winds of Winter, Arianne is heading to Griffin's Roost. A young man calling himself Aegon Targaryen has landed in the Stormlands, claiming to be Elia's son. Doran sent his heir to judge whether this boy is real. Whether Dorne backs the right dragon or the wrong one may depend on what Arianne decides in that room. Arianne is dangerous because she acts, not recklessly, though the Queenmaker plot was a disaster. Dangerously because she is a woman with a legal claim, a strategic mind, and a father who finally trusts her with the most important decision House Martell will make in a generation. Bear Island raises its women differently. When the Ironborn came raiding and the men were out fishing, the women of the island defended hearth and children themselves. That was centuries ago. The tradition stuck. Mormont women fight, not as a statement, not as a rebellion, because someone has to, and they always have. Dacey Mormont is Mage Mormont's eldest daughter. 6 feet tall, graceful, as comfortable in a gown as in armor. She was given a morning star at the age when other girls are given dolls. She rides south with her mother against the Lannisters and is numbered among Robb Stark's personal guard, the only woman in the group. She fights at the Whispering Wood, at Oxcross, at Ashmark, at the Crag, and throughout the Lannister West. Every battle Robb wins, Dacey is beside him. What makes Dacey interesting is not that she fights, it is that the North does not comment on it. Brienne's entire arc is built on the pain of being a woman warrior in a world that rejects her. Dacey is the counterpoint. Bear Island solved that problem generations ago. The men in Robb's guard do not remark on her presence. She earned her place. The conversation is over. At the Twins, on the night of the Red Wedding, Dacey approaches Edwin Frey and touches his arm, likely to ask him to dance. Edwin wrenches himself away with sudden violence. "No, I'm done with dancing for the nonce." Dacey pales, turns away. Catelyn watches the exchange. It is one of the final signals that something is wrong. A moment of social hostility so sharp it cuts through the noise of the feast. Minutes later, the crossbows come out. Sir Benfrey Frey seizes Dacey's arm. She smashes a wine flagon into his face, runs for the door. Sir Ryman Frey comes through with men-at-arms and buries a long axe in her stomach.
Dacey Mormont dies fighting at the Red Wedding, which is exactly what a woman of Bear Island was raised to do. She is the proof that the North is not one thing. The show gave us Lyanna Mormont, a child who was brave and blunt. The books gave us Dacey, a grown warrior who fought in every battle of the war and died with a dead Frey at her feet. They are not the same character. They are not the same idea.
Barbrey Dustin is the Lady of Barrowton, one of the most politically intelligent characters in A Dance with Dragons, and a woman who hates the Starks from inside the North itself. When she was young, Barbrey Ryswell caught the eye of Brandon Stark, Ned's older brother. Brandon took her maidenhead. Her father petitioned Rickard Stark for a marriage. Rickard refused. His maester, a man named Wellis, whom Barbrey calls a grey rat, had put southern ambitions in the Lord of Winterfell's head. Brandon was betrothed to Catelyn Tully instead, part of a grand southern alliance. Barbrey was married off to Lord Willem Dustin of Barrowton. Willem rode south with Ned. He died at the Tower of Joy, for reasons never disclosed to her. Only Ned and Howland Reed came home. And then Ned did something Barbrey will never forgive. He rode to Starfall and returned Dawn, Arthur Dane's ancestral sword, to the Danes. But he never brought back Willem Dustin's bones, never brought back his horse. He honored a southern enemy house and left his own bannerman's widow with nothing. In the crypts, she tells Theon everything: Brandon, Willem, the maesters and their whispers. Walking past the tombs, she notices swords missing from several statues, a detail that may mean the Stark boys survived and hid here. And she declares that when Ned's bones arrive from the south, she will make sure they never reach the crypts. On paper, she is allied with the Boltons, but she describes Roose with open contempt, operates independently, gathers intelligence through private conversations. The sharpest mind inside Bolton held Winterfell, and nobody in that castle is sure what she wants. Barbrey is dangerous because her grievances are real. Ned did fail his bannerman's widow. Brandon was reckless. Rickard chose southern alliances over northern loyalty. She is not wrong about any of it. A political actor whose complaints are legitimate is harder to dismiss than one driven by ambition alone. The Starks are not beloved by all. Inside their own region, their legacy is contested, remembered, and judged by the people they overlooked. Do not call her a princess. She is not. Val is Dulla's sister. Dulla was Mance Rayder's wife. That makes Val the sister-in-law of a man who was chosen as king, not born as one. In wildling culture, that means nothing. A king's kin has no title, no succession right, no special authority. But the Southerners cannot understand that. They see a beautiful woman connected to a king, and they reach for the only word they have: princess. Stannis Baratheon builds his entire northern strategy around it. Stannis's plan? Legitimize Jon Snow as Jon Stark, Lord of Winterfell. Marry him to Val. Bind the wildlings to the northern cause through a royal marriage. Elegant. Also wrong. Val's influence does not come from a title. It comes from the fact that she is competent, respected, and feared in her own right. Jon is tempted. Becoming Jon Stark is his oldest dream. He refuses. He has sworn his Night's Watch vows, but the offer hangs in the air like smoke. Val proves her worth on her own terms. Jon sends her alone beyond the wall to find Tormund Giantsbane and the remaining three folk. Many at Castle Black expect she will never come back. She returns with Tormund and thousands of wildlings ready to negotiate passage. No title required. She also delivers one of the most chilling warnings in the series. Shireen Baratheon's grayscale is not cured. It is sleeping. It will wake. The wildling's way would be to give the child the gift of mercy. He does nothing. Readers who know what happens to Shireen later understand exactly what Martin was building. Val is dangerous because she operates between two worlds and answers to neither. The Southerners think she is a prize to be bartered. The wildlings know she earned her standing. And the one man who understands both things, Jon Snow, cannot act on what he knows because his vows hold him in place. She is the question the wall was never designed to answer. Taena Merryweather is a Myrish noblewoman married to a minor lord. Beautiful, dark-haired, foreign. She arrives in Cersei's orbit at exactly the right time, after Joffrey's death, when Cersei is regent, paranoid, and drinking too much. Taena gives Cersei what she craves, intelligence and validation. Taena reveals that Cersei's handmaid Senelle is spying for Marjorie Tyrell, tells Cersei about Olenna Tyrell's hidden gold, becomes Cersei's closest confidant, and eventually her lover. Every piece of information Taena provides is true, but it is carefully selected. Enough to build trust, never enough to help. She validates Cersei's worst instincts, flatters her schemes, never pushes back. Every bad decision Cersei makes in A Feast for Crows happens with Taena whispering approval beside her. Whose spy is she? The strongest reading? Taena is a Tyrell agent. Her job is not to steal information. It is to accelerate Cersei's self-destruction. She does not need to betray Cersei. She needs to make sure Cersei keeps being Cersei, louder and faster. When the Faith arrests Cersei, Taena and her husband vanish from King's Landing overnight. Taena is dangerous because she never does anything overtly hostile. No poison, no threats. She makes herself useful to a woman who is already self-destructing and ensures the destruction accelerates. The most effective spy in King's Landing may be the one who never needed to lie. 6 women. 6 regions, 6 forms of danger. Lady Stoneheart commands the Brotherhood and turns the Riverlands into a hanging court. Arianne Martell crowns queens and judges pretenders. Dacey Mormont fights beside kings and dies with a dead Frey at her feet. Barbrey Dustin runs intelligence inside enemy-held Winterfell while nursing a grudge older than the war. Val negotiates between cultures that do not understand each other. Taena Merryweather climbs into the Queen's bed and makes sure the Queen destroys herself. Not one of them is a queen. Not one sits the Iron Throne or commands dragons or armies of the dead. They operate in the spaces between the famous names, and they are the reason Westeros feels like a real place instead of a stage. Stoneheart is still hunting. Arianne is still riding north. Barbrey is still watching from the shadows. Val is still at the wall. And Taena is still out there somewhere, her mission complete, and her true loyalties still unknown. Dacey Mormont is the only one who is not waiting. She died at the Twins with a wine flagon in her hand and a fray on the floor. But the island that raised her is still there, and the women of Bear Island are still fighting. The most dangerous women in Westeros. The books know their names. Now you do too.